The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, you guys. Excited to be on the call and show you guys all the ways to take your real estate business to the next level with this JK Closing Agent One app. I also want to mention that everybody that's on this call today, you guys will be getting 6 months credit of premium added to your account. So after this call, we'll go through and add that credit to all you guys' account. And I'm definitely going to show you guys how to use that premium subscription to promote your business and with ease on social media. And so look forward to doing that. The first thing, though, that I want to show you guys today is this download site here, jkclosingagent.com. The reason I want to show you guys this, there's actually two reasons I want to show you this website. One, this is going to be a really easy way for you guys to download the app. As you can see, when going to this website on a mobile device, there's going to be a Get the App button that shows up. Well, you guys actually can have your account on up to 5 different devices, and it makes it really awesome to be able to save a document that you're working on one device and load it back up on a different device. Maybe you want to show that net sheet to that seller on your iPad, or maybe you want to continue working on it on a larger screen like a laptop or desktop. You can actually save your estimates within the app and load them back up on a different device. And so knowing this download site's definitely going to be a great way for you guys to easily download this app on multiple devices. The other reason I wanted to show you this download site is because of the web version. If you visit the same website, jkclosingagent.com, on a laptop or desktop computer, you're actually going to be given the opportunity to log in to the web version of the app. So all the cool features that I show you guys today can also be accessed on the web just by going to this same download website, jkclosingagent.com, and logging in with the credentials that you set up on the app. So definitely wanted to show you guys that. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on this Palm Agent One app icon. It's going to take me into the JK Closing Agent One app. First thing I want to draw you guys' attention to is the tab bar down here at the bottom. This is how we're going to navigate throughout the app. So we've got the buyer tab. That's how we'll generate those buyer estimates for those buyers that we work with. The seller tab, that's of course how we're going to generate that great looking net sheet for those sellers and our listing presentations. The calculators tab's got a ton of additional calculations that we load in here for you guys to make every different facet of your job a little bit easier. We've got a rent versus buy calculator in there, an extra payment calculator, some reverse calculations that allow you to run the numbers backwards. I'll definitely touch on a few of those calculators with you guys here today. And then there's the premium section. Now the premium section is going to require subscription. You can either pay 99 cents a month, or if you want to pay for the full year, you can pay $9.99. Like I said, we're going to be crediting all of you guys' accounts with 6 months of that premium subscription for free. But that premium subscription gives you access to 3 categories of really innovative content that make it easy for you guys to connect with clients and post relevant content on social media to promote your business and your listings and your brand with some personality. And so definitely look forward to showing you guys how to use that premium subscription and all the content that's available in there. Another thing I want to mention for you guys is that we do have staff on hand. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to type that in the question section. We do have someone standing by to answer any questions that you guys may have. So feel free to ask those whenever you have them. All right, so first I want to talk about the buyer program. This buyer program is going to be the best way for you guys to give answers to those buyers when you're out there house shopping. You know, when we're out here house shopping, the buyers have questions about these different houses and what the monthly payment and bring and close amount is going to be on those different houses. And this is going to be the best tool for you guys to use in those types of situations. You can actually give them answers to those questions in just a few moments. And so definitely want to show you guys how to do that. Now, using the buyer program, as you can see, we've loaded these defaults in here. Using this program, however, is as easy as putting in a home price and hitting compute. That's all you really need to do to get to a rough estimate of that monthly payment and that bring to close amount. Again, because of these defaults that we've preloaded in here. But I know that you guys join this webinar so you can get a more in-depth look at this app. And so I'm going to go through this input screen with you. First thing that I want to point out is up there in the top left corner, it says conventional. Well, if we click on conventional, that's where we can go in and choose from a variety of different loan types. Now, we've worked closely with the JK Closing Attorneys team to load in all the fees that you guys need for each of these different loan types. So if you're out there estimating these numbers, make sure you select the correct loan type when you're out there working with those buyers. All right, I'm going to put in a home price of $320,000 here for us. Next, I want to jump down to the down payment because I want to show you that we've made this easy for you by making these input fields intuitive. What I mean by that is we're going to recognize dollar amounts as dollar amounts and percentages as percentages. In fact, anything that you type in here for this down payment, anything above 100 is going to be recognized as a dollar amount automatically. So if you have that buyer who wants to put 100,000 down, we can just type in 100,000. No need to toggle over to a dollar amount. The app's going to automatically recognize that as a dollar amount for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and put that back to 10%, 10% down payment. Interest rate, we could of course change that. We could also change the term length. I'm going to keep those the same though, and I'm going to jump down here to taxes. I want to talk about taxes for a second. First, you'll notice that a tax amount is loaded in. This is based on what area you select during the registration process, but I know that most of you guys probably do work in a few different areas out there in Florida, and so we do have the ability for you guys to switch areas. You can always switch areas within your app with this drop-down arrow up here at the top of the screen next to where it says JK Closing Agent 1. If you hit that drop-down arrow, you can change your area, and each of the different areas that you select will have a different defaulted rate there in that taxes section. So that's one thing I wanted to show you and let you guys know that you're not tied to one area when you register. You can always change your area up there at the top. Now, the best way for you guys to handle taxes is to put in an annual dollar amount. A lot of times you have that MLS sheet readily available and you know how much was spent in taxes last year. We'll put that full dollar amount in this tax input field. We'll recognize it as a dollar amount. We'll divide it up and give you that monthly payment info. But that's definitely going to be the best way for you guys to handle those taxes. However, every transaction is different, and sometimes you won't have that information readily available. And so we have built in a way for you guys to shoot from the hip. You can actually choose a rate based on an area by clicking this drop-down arrow next to where it says taxes. You'll see that when I hit that drop-down arrow, I can then scroll through different rates. Now, each of the different areas that are in you guys' app up here at the top, as I showed you before, you can change your area with that drop-down arrow next to JK Closings Agent 1. Each of those different areas within the app will have a different list of rates here. So we've worked closely with those folks over at JK Closing Attorneys to load in different areas and rates that you guys are typically going to need, depending on which area that you're associated with. All you have to do is scroll through. I'll go ahead and choose that Lake Worth rate right there, hit this done button, and it's going to load that rate in there for me. Another thing I want to point out with these taxes is if you click on that input field, the settings gear is going to pop up on the far right side of the screen. Well, if you press on that settings gear, that's where you can edit what tax rates and areas show up in that drop-down arrow. So the folks there at JK Closing Attorneys, they've loaded in these rates to make it a little bit easier for you guys. But if you want to go in here and tweak the rates and the areas, you can actually add areas, add up to 40 different areas and rates here. You can edit all those different rates and areas that show up in that drop-down arrow and tweak this for your needs. So definitely wanted to point that out and let you guys know that that capability is there for you. Now, I want to go ahead and get to those results for my buyer, so I'm going to press that compute button. When I hit that compute button just like that, you can see front and center, we've got that monthly payment and total bring to close amount right there for you to show your buyer. You'll also notice that since we put less than 20% down, we stuck with that 10% default, the app automatically calculated that PMI for us. So that will be included, as well as a funding fee if you choose a VA loan, or if you choose an FHA, we're going to have that MIP loaded in there for you automatically. Also, when you look over at the bring to close amount, we do have the down payment, that 10% down payment at $32,000, but the rest of that total bring to close amount is closing costs. So we have loaded in those closing costs for you guys. In fact, you can itemize those out by pressing this closing cost button right here. And when you do that, you'll see that we've got all of those closing costs categorized for you. You've got your prepaids up at the top, title fees, lender fees, and other fees. Now, like I said, we work closely with the JK Closing Attorneys team to load in the fees that you guys typically need. So all the fees that you see here are going to be preloaded in there for you, so that when you're out there estimating these numbers, you're getting really close thanks to these preloaded fees that we've loaded in. However, every transaction is different, and we understand that, so we've built in a way for you guys to edit your closing costs here. You can actually press the edit button up there in the top right corner, and when you do so, you'll notice that we can now change our fees here. We can change the prepaids. We can change who pays certain fees here. For example, the owner's title policy is being defaulted to be paid by the seller, but maybe I want that to be paid by the buyer, or to be split. I could just hit this drop down arrow and change that over. We also have X's here for you to remove the fees that you don't need, and we can of course change the numbers that are already here. So for example, I've got an origination fee. We load in a 1% origination fee and by default. Well, maybe the lender that you use, he charges a flat fee of $1,500. Well, if we change that to $1,500, as I said before, it's going to recognize anything above 100 as a dollar amount for us. So it's going to recognize that as a dollar amount, but we can put in the fee that we need for that lender fee. When we make any tweaks, when we want to save those, we can hit the done button up there in the top right corner. And when we do that, the app's going to give you two options. It's going to say, hey, do you want to save this change for just this estimate or for all future estimates? So you can actually go in here and tweak the numbers for a specific transaction. Make all the changes that you need and hit for this estimate only. Whereas if you need to load in a fee that your brokerage charges for every transaction that you do, you can go in here, add that fee, and hit for all future estimates so that that fee will be included in every estimate that you run moving forward. So definitely wanted to show you guys not only the editability of these closing costs, but also the options for saving those changes that you make to those closing costs. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit for this estimate only. And I'm going to press the back button up there in the top left corner and take us back to our results screen, because I want to talk about a few of the different features that we've built into this buyer's results screen. First option that I want to show you guys is the edit functionality. You can actually edit your results in real time. This is a great looking results screen, easily understood by even those buyers that you're out there working with. So maybe you run this scenario for your buyer and you show it to them. You turn your iPad around and you show them the results. And the buyer looks at this screen and says, oh man, $2,555, that's a little high. We're actually trying to keep our monthly payment around $2,200. You're no longer caught like a deer in headlights. You can actually run the numbers in reverse right here from the results screen. Just press that edit button, change that to $2,200, and now we can tell that buyer, once we hit this done button, hey, if you're trying to keep a monthly payment around $2,200, we're actually going to have to bring $88,900 to the closing table. $79,000 of that's going to make up the down payment. The rest is going to be closing costs. But like I said, we're going to have to bring about $89,000 to the table on that $320,000 house to get you a monthly payment of about $2,200 here. Same goes for the bring to close amount. If you're working with that buyer and they look at this and they say, hey, you know what, we've got a little bit more than $88,900 that we could bring to the closing table. We've just sold our house and we've got about $95,000. We want to bring all of that towards this new house. What kind of monthly payment could we get with $95,000 total to bring to close? Well, Mr. Buyer, if you've got $95,000, let me type that in, hit done, and I can tell that buyer, Mr. Buyer, if If you've got 95,000 total, 85 of that's going to make up the down payment. The rest is going to be closing costs, and we can actually get you down to a 2,100 monthly payment here. So again, the editability of these results is really going to help you guys continue the conversation when you're out there meeting with those buyers and they have something to say about those results that you're telling them. Now, another feature that I want to load in here for you guys, actually, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to change this back to that 10% down payment, get us back to a more realistic scenario, hit this compute button so we're back to our original results, that 10% down in that $320,000 house. Now, we also like to load features in here that help you guys overcome obstacles that you face often as a realtor. So, for example, here on the buyer's results screen, we've loaded in a feature that helps you guys talk about offer price and what an increase in offer does to this monthly payment. You know, oftentimes you guys are working with that buyer who tells you they're capped out at $320,000. They don't want to spend a dime above $320,000. But maybe they found that house that they're in love with that's listed at $360, and they're saying to you, "Hey, Mr. Realtor, we're capped out at $320. Can you just submit this $320 offer for us on that house?" And you know that offer is not going to cut it. And so you try to tell them and educate them into making a more competitive offer. And you say, "Hey, you know what, you guys, this is a really competitive market. If you guys are really interested in the house, we're going to have to make a more competitive offer. If we can maybe meet that seller halfway at $340, that's not going to change our monthly payment by that much." And that might be true, but you just saying that to a buyer who just told you that they're capped out, the conversation might not go your way. And so we've built in a way for you guys to better handle this type of situation. What you can do is you can hold your device in front of you, rotate it to the left or the right like you're trying to watch a movie on it, and rotate it back, and it's going to create this screen that says how offer price can affect my payment. And then it shows with $10,000 increments what making a more competitive offer does to that monthly payment. And I actually prefer to use this settings gear down here in the bottom left and change this to show the difference instead of the actual payment. We could also adjust the increments. I'm going to keep that at 10,000 there. And now I've got results where I can have that conversation with my buyer and I can say, "Hey, you guys, this is a beautiful house. It's an extremely popular neighborhood. There's going to be other offers made on this. I can tell that you're interested. If you guys are seriously wanting to close on this house, we're going to have to make a more competitive offer. If we can maybe meet that seller halfway at $340, that's only going to change our monthly payment by $159. Now, I know you guys are in love with this house. Are you sure you want to let $159 be the straw that broke the camel's back?" So this is a much better way for you guys to lay the information out in front of this buyer and educate them into making a more competitive offer by showing how it's going to affect their monthly payment. And if we want to send this over to our buyer, we can press the share icon in the bottom right corner, that box with the arrow coming out of it, press on that icon, and it's going to take all those figures and put them on a flyer that really helps us drive the message home. It's got these stats from the Wall Street Journal showing that year over year, multiple offers are rising, stressing how important it is to make that competitive offer. So an effective way, you guys, for you to handle working with that lowball buyer. And so definitely wanted to show you guys this multiple offer or this offer increase feature that we've loaded in here. All right, I'm going to press the back button up there in the top left corner, take us back to our results screen so I can talk about some other things that we've built in here. Now, if you look up at this blue bar up at the top of the screen, you'll notice that we've got a Smart Compare program on the left and a Loan Details program on the right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to swipe right on this results screen to get us over to that Smart Compare program. Swiping right takes us over to that Smart Compare program where you'll notice that it's just a loan comparison program. The reason we call it Smart Compare is because we've built in algorithms to automatically create this comparable loan here on the right side based on some savings that can be found. So the app recognized we put 10% down in that 30-year term, and it said, "Hey, wait a second, there's close to 70 grand in interest savings and PMI savings if we could instead put 20% down." So we created that comparable loan automatically so that you could show that buyer some other options for purchasing this home. Now, this is just a loan comparison tool, so if you want to compare something else, maybe you just wanted to compare conventional versus an FHA, or a 30-year term versus a 15-year term, we can actually press this edit button right here, and you can compare whatever you want by changing these data points here. But like I said, we're going to try to create a comparable loan for you automatically based on some savings that can be found. All right, I'm going to swipe left on this result screen here, take us back to our buyer results, and now I'm going to swipe left on the buyer results to get us to the page on the right, that loan details page. You'll notice we've got loan details up here at the top, and down here at the bottom, if you scroll down, you'll see that we've run a complete loan amortization schedule for every single year within that loan. I can scroll here and click on, say, for example, year 19 here, and I can see all the months within that year and how much principal, interest, and what the loan balance would be for each of those months within year 19. So complete amortization schedule is going to be run for every scenario that you put through that buyer's program. And if you want to send this over, or you want to send that comparison that I just showed you guys over to your buyer, just use that share icon. Again, the box with the arrow coming out of it, it's up there at the top right corner of your screen. You'll be able to send over the results that you're looking at to your buyer. All right, let's talk about sending our actual buyer results though. We've got a few options here. First option, maybe we're house shopping. We're driving around looking at houses, and I don't want to send the full 2-page report with the closing cost breakdown. I don't want to send that to my buyer just yet. I just want to send them the pertinent information, just the monthly payment and bring to close amount on this house that we just looked at. Well, you can actually press and hold on your results screen. I like to press and hold right here between these two circles. If you press and hold on your results screen, it's going to take what we call a snapshot. It throws the home price up there at the top, numbers are estimate only, verbiage down here at the bottom, and now we can text, email, or post to social media the pertinent information, just that monthly payment and that bring to close amount. So we can send just this snapshot over to our buyer. However, if we want to send the full 2-page report, we can do that with that share icon up there in the top right corner. When we press that, we're actually given a few options. I'll come back to send full report. Text snapshot, I just showed you guys that. This is just an alternate way to access that. Save estimate, though, I know I mentioned before that you can actually have the app on up to 5 different devices, and saving your estimates on one device and loading them back up on a different device is a great way for you to take advantage of that free cloud storage that we're providing to you. Another thing I want to mention about our save estimate functionality is that we've built in the ability for you guys to create folders. So you can create a folder under a specific buyer's name, put all the estimates that you run for that one buyer in that one folder, and keep all your saved estimates neatly organized. But I want to send that full report, so I'm going to go ahead and press send full report, and just like that, you'll see that I've got a great looking report that's been created for me automatically. It's got all the loan information up here at the top of the screen, along with the monthly payment and bring to close breakdown. And if I scroll down to that second page, you'll notice that all of those closing costs are itemized out for me. So a great report for us to send over to our buyer. At the end of the day, this is just an estimate. It's not an actual CD. So we've got this estimate verbiage built in, a disclaimer that's going to automatically be populated on each of the docs that you send out from the app. You can actually edit what your disclaimer says in your profile. I'll show you that a little bit later. Another thing you'll notice that comes on this automatically is your information. If you've loaded your photo and personal information, logo and company information into your account, we're going to automatically brand your reports when you create them. So definitely some great ways for you guys to send over that branded content when you're sending these docs to your clients. Now, one thing I want to mention is that to be able to add your photo and logo to your account, it is going to require a subscription to premium. But as I mentioned before, everybody on this call will be getting a 6-month credit added to their account. So you guys will all be able to go in and load in your photo and logo after this call. Again, that adding the photo and logo is something that compliance made us move over to the premium subscription portion of the app due to all those P50 and RESPA laws. It's something that's there to protect you guys and to protect the folks there at JK Closing Attorneys. And so like I said, to add your photo and logo to your account, it is going to require a subscription to premium. All right, let me scroll back up to the top and let me show you a few things that we can do to this estimate before we send it out. First thing that I want to point out is up there in the top left corner, it says English. That's because my document is in English, but maybe I'm working with a buyer who speaks a different language, I can actually press English right there. And it's going to give me 14 different languages that I can translate this entire document to. So I could scroll through, choose from any of those different languages and press done, and it's going to translate this entire document to any one of those 14 languages listed. So a great way for you guys to connect with that buyer who speaks a different language. Maybe you provide them with an English version, but if you can tell that that's not their native language, give them a French version as well so they can go home and go over this information with the rest of their family in their native tongue. So great way, as I mentioned before, for you guys to connect with those buyers who speak a different language. All right, down in the bottom left corner of the app, we've got the property details button. When I press on that property details button, I can go in here and add information to my estimate. So I can add a client name. I'm going to put in Joe Buyer as my client. Property address, you can type that in if you want to, but if you're standing there on the property, we have added this little arrow that allows you to click on that arrow and it's going to pull that address for you automatically. A nice little convenience ad for you guys. You'll also notice that we've got a notes section. Maybe you want to put what school district that house lies in. You can actually put that in the notes section. You'll also notice that we can add 3 property photos to this estimate, and this is a great way for you guys to make it more likely for your buyers to buy that house by showcasing features that spoke to them specifically. For example, if you're walking in the house with a husband and wife and the wife walks into that master bathroom and she falls in love with it, we'd be idiots to not have a photo of that bathroom on the estimate that we send over to that husband and wife later that day. So loading in features that actually speak to those buyers is definitely going to help you guys out there when you're trying to get these buyers to buy the house. Now, if you click on one of these photo icons, you'll see that we can take a picture right then and there, or we can pull from our photo library if we already have those photos loaded onto our device. I already have some photos loaded onto my device, so I'm going to go ahead and click photo library there. Typically, we see the front-facing photo being used as that first photo, so that's a great way to use this, but we've also seen agents load in a photo of a lender's business card, so that's one of the unique ways that you guys can use this feature. As I mentioned before, though, loading in features that spoke to those buyers specifically is key, and so maybe the wife, she loved the counters and the cabinets in the kitchen. I'm going to load a photo of the kitchen in. And the husband, he walked out to the backyard and he loved it. Not too much grass to mow, but enough grass to let the dogs run. We can actually load in a photo of that backyard as well. Another unique way that we've seen this feature used is if you can tell that that buyer's interested in the house, have them stand out in front of the house or sit in that kitchen chair, lay out in that lawn chair and take those photos of that buyer and load them into your estimate. It's a really cool way of saying, look, this could be you when you send that estimate over. It's definitely a cool way that I wanted to show you guys to use that feature right there. If you've got any drone footage or a video walkthrough, you can add that link right here. It's going to attach it to the estimate when we send it over to our buyers. And if you want that client to sign this, it'll actually date stamp it. If you sign it, it's going to let you save your signature to your account. I'm going to skip all that though and hit this save button up here in the top right corner. And when I do that, you'll see that it loads that information onto my estimate. I've got the address up here in the top right corner. Scrolling down to the second page, you'll find prepared for Joe Buyer, and those photos have been loaded in. Again, this makes professional correspondence between you and your buyers. Imagine sending a great looking report like this over to your buyers. It's as easy as typing in a few numbers, loading in a few pictures, something that you can do in 2 or 3 minutes here. All right, up here in the top right corner, you'll see that we're on estimate style 5 of 8. Well, first I want to show you 5 through 8 because those will be included for free. Those do not require a subscription to premium. So I'm going to swipe over and show you we've got another style of an estimate for you. You can scroll down and see it's got all that information loaded in. This estimate style here, we can actually change the color theme with this color options button right here. If you press on this arrow, you can choose from a few other colors. We can actually change the cover photo of this style as well. We've seen everything from how that backyard looks at sunset to a better logo. We've seen this cover photo feature used in a variety of different ways. Definitely a great way for you guys to add some style and that personal touch to the reports that you're sending over to your clients. I'm going to keep swiping and just show you, you've got all four of those free different styles for you guys to choose from when you're wanting to send these estimates over to your buyers. Now, let me swipe back to our original estimate. That was estimate styles 5 through 8. Again, those are included for free. Now, estimate styles 1 through 4 are a new report style that we've introduced, and it's really going to be a valuable piece of content for you guys to have at an open house. It is going to require a subscription to premium to be able to access, but as I mentioned before, all of you guys will get that 6-month credit applied to your account after this call. But let me show you why this is going to be such a valuable piece of content for you guys to have at an open house. Swiping over, you'll see that it's what we call a geo-specific report or a geo report. What it did is, based on that address that I put in the property details section, it actually pulled nearby convenience information. So as I mentioned before, this is an amazing piece of content for you guys to have at an open house. Have a stack of these sitting at that front table at that open house, because these potential buyers who are actually thinking about buying this home, they're going to care where that grocery store is. They're going to be visiting it every other week. They're going to care where that gym is and that gas station, how many restaurants are within a 5-mile radius. This is all information that's going to really be beneficial for you guys' open house, and a way for you guys to add some value and promote all the nearby conveniences that surround that house. And we've got a few different styles to choose from. Swiping through, you'll see that we've got other style options here. Another thing that I want to mention is that we've got several other of these geo-specific reports on the way in an upcoming update. Next 2 or 3 weeks, we will be updating the app, and the new geo reports that we're loading in are insane, you guys. We've got school ratings on them. We've got internet speed and walk score and sound score. There's so much that you guys are going to love about these new geo report styles. They're just going to be something amazing for you guys to have at an open house when you're out there trying to market these listings. All right, so that is the buyer's program. I'm going to go ahead and press that back button up there in the top left corner, take us back to our buyer results, and I'm going to press this seller tab and jump on over to my seller program. Now, the seller program is our #1 most widely used program in the app across the nation, and that is because, of course, all of these sellers out there, they're looking for one answer. They want to know how much money they're going to make off of what is potentially the largest sale of their life. And this is going to be the fastest and easiest, most portable way that you guys are going to have to give answers to those questions. Now, we like to brag that you can make a net sheet in just 15 seconds with our app, and so that's what makes it faster. We've also loaded in features that make this simple for you, and I'll show you those here in just a few. Another thing I want to mention is that portability. This is an app, you guys, so you can take it wherever you want. And if you're at that house that doesn't have good internet connection, the app can still run without internet connection. So if there's bad service at that house, you can still create that great looking report for those sellers that you're meeting with. Of course, some of the internet functionality that I'll show you a little bit later in the premium section, also using any geo-specific information, it is going to require internet, but you can still create a great looking report without any internet connection on this amazing tool. Put it in airplane mode and you'll be amazed with how much you can still do. Now, again, this is so simple thanks to these defaults that we've loaded in, that to get to a rough estimate of that net number, all you really need to do is put in a sales price, a loan balance, an estimated closing date, hit compute, and that's it, you guys. Those 3 input fields, sales price, loan balance, closing date, hit compute, and we'll be able to tell that seller roughly what they're going to walk with. But again, since you guys joined this webinar and you want that in-depth look at how to use this tool, I'm going to go through this input screen with us. I'm going to stick with the same price point of $320,000 there. Broker fee, it's going to default to that 6% broker fee, but you can change that. Change it to a different percentage if you want, or change it to a dollar amount, and you can do that as well. However, one thing I want to show you about this broker fee is that settings gear right there that shows up when you click on that broker fee input field, the settings gear is actually going to let you edit that split. So maybe you wanted to do a 4 and 2 split, Or maybe you wanted to put a flat fee on one side or both sides, like 3% for that listing broker, but that buyer's broker gets $5,000. You can actually edit that split however you would like. Now, the repairs money, we can allot any money for repairs here in this repairs section. The miscellaneous sections for any one-time closing cost transaction fee that you'd like to put on this net sheet. HOA transfer fees, seller's contribution, anything like that can be put in this miscellaneous section. You can put it here as a lump sum, or if you press that settings gear that's on that input field, you can actually itemize all those things out. We even give you the ability to subtract from the closing costs as well. So any of those buyer paid fees can be put in the subtract from closing costs section. I showed you guys how to use the property taxes, so I'm going to skip that and jump down to the loan balance. Now, the loan balance, this is a really awesome feature that we've loaded in. In fact, loan balance is something that when you're working up that net sheet, it often becomes a problem for you guys. You're working up this net sheet. It comes to the question of how much those buyers still or those sellers still owe on their payoff, and they don't know. They know when they started their mortgage roughly, but they don't know exactly how much they owe. Well, we've got a loan balance calculator in our calculators tab, but we've tied that loan balance calculator to this input field via this settings gear that's on the loan balance input field. So if I'm working up my net sheet here, it comes to that question of how much that seller still owes on their payoff and they don't know, I can say, not a problem, Mr. Seller. If you've been making regular payments on your home, I can calculate how much you still owe based on just a little bit of information. So I'm going to press that settings gear and jump on into my loan balance calculator where now I can put in the home price. Maybe they bought their house for $280,000 and they put $90,000 down. We jump down to loan start date, and they don't know exactly when they started their mortgage, but they'll know roughly. They might know it was back in 2002 and it was right after school started, so it might have been September of 2002. You know what, Mr. Seller, that's all I need, a month and a year, and I'll be able to calculate roughly how much you still owe. Now, when it comes to interest rate, if they don't know what interest rate they got on that payoff, we've actually loaded in historical interest rate data. So if I press on the settings gear that shows up on the interest rate input field, I can actually scroll through by clicking the year here, and I can scroll through all the way back to 1971. And I can see a low rate, a high rate, and an average rate for any of those years in this list here. So I'm going to go up to 2002, hit that done button. I'm going to choose that average rate right there. I'll press the use button in the top right corner. It's going to load that rate into my loan balance calculator. I can now press the compute button down at the bottom, and I can tell that seller, hey, if you've been making regular payments, you still owe about $128.5. I can press this continue button up here in the top right corner, and it's going to load not only their loan balance, but also the interest rate that we selected into my net sheet input screen here. Lastly, I'm going to choose that estimated closing date because we do take into account those prorations. So I'm going to choose 2 months out, hit this compute button, and just like that, I'm able to tell my seller that they're looking to walk with about $161,000 here. Now I want to stress something with you guys. We went through every single input field on that input screen. We also calculated how much that seller still owed on their payoff, and it took us, 3 or 4 minutes to get to this net number? There's no faster or easier way for you guys to get to this net number than this amazing tool that the folks there at JK Closing Attorneys are providing with you guys. And so definitely wanted to stress that for a second. Now, all the functionality that I showed you on the buyer side available here on the seller side as well. So I can itemize those closing costs out and go in there and tweak the numbers if I need to by pressing that closing cost button. I can press and hold on the screen and take that snapshot, shoot it over to my seller just to tell them roughly what they'll be able to net with without giving them the full report. If I do want to send that full report, that option will be found in that share icon up there in the top right corner where I can throw photos on it if I want, translate it, all that cool stuff I showed you on the buyer reports, also available on the seller reports here. And I can, of course, edit the results in real time. So if I show this to my seller and the seller says, hey, you know what, 161, that's a little low. I thought you and I had talked about me being able to walk with 180. We really need 180 for this new house that we found. Well, Mr. Seller, if you absolutely need to walk with 180,000, let me go ahead and press this edit button, change this net number to 180,000, hit the done button. Mr. Seller, if you need to walk with 180, we're actually going to have to list this house for 340. Now, maybe we're working with that seller who now wants us to list that house at 340. They say, hey, that looks good. I really need to walk with 180, so just go ahead and list the house for 340. And now you're having this conversation where you're telling them, hey, Mr. Seller, houses in this neighborhood, they're just not selling for that much. Well, what we can do is we can rotate our device, just like I showed you before. Rotate it to the left or the right, like you're trying to watch a movie on it. Rotate it back, and it's going to run 5 net sheets at once. Now we can talk this unrealistic seller down to a more realistic listing price and talk about the comps in the area. We can say, hey, Mr. Seller, I know you've got your heart set on listing this at 340, but houses in this neighborhood, they're selling for more like 320. I really think we need to price this at 320 for it to move quickly. You know, the house down the street, it's sold for 328, but they've got an extra bathroom. We've got one less bathroom than them. I really think we need to price this at 320. Does 161 still get you where you're trying to go? You know, being able to lay out these 5 different sales prices and 5 different net at close numbers, it's really going to help you guys when you're out there meeting with these unrealistic sellers and trying to convince them to make a more realistic listing price. All right, let me X out of this screen here and talk about if we're working with that seller who's fortunate enough to find themselves in a multiple offer situation. What I can do is I can swipe right on this screen to access that multiple offer comparison tool where it's going to load in that initial offer for me automatically. Now, with our multiple offer comparison tool, you can compare up to 12 different offers. And we've got all the data points that really make or break an offer. You can even edit the closing costs associated with each of those different offers that you're building out. And like I said, the data points that really matter, we even have contingency on here. So maybe this offer is contingent on the sale of their home. So this offer only stands if these buyers can sell their house first. We actually can put that contingency here. Now I'm going to press that add offer button in the top right and add that offer to my multiple offer comparison. You'll see that it'll take us to a page where now we're building out those multiple offers. And like I said before, we can compare up to 12 different offers. I'm going to go ahead and press add new offer down here at the bottom, and I'm going to add a second offer. I'm going to roll through this really quickly. I'm going to just change this to an FHA where they're offering us a little bit more at 330. I'm going to press that add offer button up there in the top right corner, and I'm going to add one final offer, an all cash deal where they're trying to lowball us at 300,000. And I'll press that add offer button in the top right corner. Now I've got my 3 offers here on the table. Now, if I press this edit button, I can now remove an offer with these X's. If one of them falls off and I need to remove it, I can press the X to remove it. I can press and hold on these 3 lines and drag an offer up. So maybe we want to move this one up a little bit. And lastly, you know what? Me and my seller, we talked about it and we agreed that this offer up here at the top, this is really going to be their best offer. So I want to remind them when I send this report over that that was the offer that we agreed on was best for them. So I'm going to go ahead and press that star and recommend that offer there. I can now hit the done button up in the top left to lock all that information in. And if I want to send it over to my buyer, that share icon in the top right corner will let me do that. We're of course going to give you the option to save it. Maybe you want to load it back up on a different device. I'm going to go ahead and press send full report though. And just like that, I've got that great looking offer comparison to sit down with my seller and talk about those different offers that are on the table. We've got all the data points that really make or break an offer, even have that contingency listed here. And rather than having to circle this offer in a red pen, I've got a nice neat star on it to note that that's the offer that was probably going to be best for these sellers here. Of course, all that branding still available here. Since I have that information loaded in my account, it's going to automatically brand my documents with it. All right, I'm going to press the back button, take us back to our seller program here. And now I want to press on this calculators tab and talk about these calculators. Now, a lot of these calculators we've tied into the buyer or seller program. For example, loan balance, I showed you that. we tied it to that loan balance input field on the input screen of the seller net sheet program, but it's got its own program here in the calculators tab. Smart compare and multiple offers, those comparison tools, again, you can access those by swiping right on your buyer or seller result screens, but they've got their own programs here in the calculators tab as well. Now, earlier I mentioned reverse calculations. Well, sell to net and monthly affordability are great reverse calculations that we've loaded in. Sell to net is the reverse calculation of a net sheet. You know, if you're working with that seller who knows how much they want to walk with, they've got a goal set in their mind, we can actually run the numbers backwards to let them know what they need to sell that house for them to reach that goal. Now, that's something that we've kind of built into the seller results screen with the ability to edit the results in real time. But this is a really awesome program for you to use to break the ice with the potential seller. Just imagine that you're out at the bar at your kid's soccer game and you overhear somebody saying that they're thinking about selling. Well, we can now walk up to this person and say, hey, I hear you're thinking about selling. How much are you looking to make? And that's a really unique way to start the conversation with that potential seller by talking and starting the conversation out with what they care about most, how much they're going to walk with. Monthly affordability is the reverse calculation of an estimate. We can actually take a monthly payment. Buyers nowadays, they're all living in that monthly payment. Well, we can take that monthly payment and run the numbers backwards, include all the taxes and fees, and let them know roughly what priced home they would be looking at based on that monthly payment that they've got set in their mind. Now, we do have a nice little hidden feature in this monthly affordability program, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in there and show you really quickly. Normally, this is how monthly affordability works. I'm working with that buyer who wants to spend $2,100 a month. Mr. Realtor, I want to spend $2,100 a month. I don't know what priced home I'm looking for just yet. I just know I've budgeted to spend about $2,100 a month. Okay, Mr. Buyer, you want to spend $2,100 a month? Let me go ahead and hit this compute button. You're actually looking for a house in that $264 price range if we can put 10% down. Now, let me slide this over to 20% down, because if you could put 20% down, we're actually looking for a house in that $297 price range. And I can swipe left on this screen, take us over to the details page on the right, and I can show them how that breaks down. So again, that's how monthly affordability normally works, but let me show you why we called it monthly affordability plus. The little plus on the icon up there in the top, that's actually a button. Watch what happens when I press it. I press that plus icon and it's going to add an input field for me. Total bring to close. So now I can work with that buyer who says, hey, I want to spend $2,100 a month, but we just got our settlement back. It's $100,000 and we want to put it all towards this new house. So we've got $100,000 cash that we'd like to bring towards this new house. However, I don't know how much that's down payment and how much is closing costs. I just know we have $100,000. Well, Mr. Buyer, you've got $100,000. You want to spend $2,100 a month. You're actually looking for a house in that $315 price range. So I was able to take that total bring to close cash amount and that desired monthly payment and tell them exactly what priced home they would be looking for. So that's how the monthly affordability and monthly affordability plus works. Now, I also want to talk about rent versus buy, because we've loaded some really amazing stuff in here, and it's definitely an awesome program that's definitely going to be extremely helpful for you guys. A lot of stuff comes into play when you're comparing renting versus buying. You know, it costs to maintain a house. Rent is rising. Homes are appreciating. There's equity gain when you're buying a house. There's a lot of stuff that comes into play when you're talking about comparing renting versus buying. So we've actually loaded in a lot of information and several different result screens for comparing renting and buying. So definitely want you guys to check that out when you get the chance. Now, I do want to talk about the premium section here and go through those 3 different categories. But before I do, I want to mention something real quick. The lovely folks there at JK Closing Attorneys, they are providing all of this to you guys for free. The buyer tab, the seller tab, and all of these calculators that you see here in the calculators tab are being provided to you guys for free by Charles and his group there at JK Closing Agents. closing attorneys, sorry. So definitely want you guys to give them a big thanks whenever you get the chance. But they're giving you all of this, everything that I've shown you and much more for free. So aside from being able to add your photo and logo to your account and those geo-specific reports, everything else is being included for free for you guys, provided by them. Now, as I mentioned before, at the end of this call, we're going to be going through and crediting all of you guys with the 6 months subscription to premium for free. So we're going to do all that. So you will be able to add your photo and logo to your account. You're going to be able to access those geo-specific reports, and you'll also be able to open up your premium tab. And like I said before, after that, the premium subscription costs 99 cents a month, or you can pay for the full year for $9.99. And let me show you what you're getting for that premium subscription. When you click on premium, you're going to see 3 categories of premium content that's loaded in there for you guys. First category is lead gen calculators. Now, the lead gen calculators are actually calculators for the consumers, but you're going to be able to brand them, set the defaults, and then post them wherever you want. And then anybody who interacts with those calculators, we're actually going to send you their contact information. So again, these calculators are meant for the consumers, but they're really meant to generate leads for you guys. And for 99 cents, you're getting a tremendous amount of value with these lead gen calculators. There's about 13 of them loaded in there right now. We've gone in and we've done a lot of edits to the thumbnails that show up. So you guys can post these on Facebook and run them as Facebook ads. Now, when you create your lead gen calculator, it's actually going to create a unique URL. And so you can actually take that URL, copy it, and paste it wherever you want. We've seen agents put it in their signature line of their email. You can put it on your website. If you visit the app on the web version, we actually provide you guys with the code to embed this on your website. Really, really awesome feature here with these lead gen calculators. It's definitely going to be something that you guys are going to love using. When you click on one of these lead gen calculators, you have to set the defaults. We don't want you to post a lead gen calculator for a monthly payment or monthly affordability, and it has a monthly payment of $600, but in you guys' area, a more realistic monthly payment is around $1,700. So we're going to have you set the defaults, and then you can press the share icon. Again, that box with the arrow coming out of it, you can press that share icon and send this out however you want. Again, copy will be an option on there. So if you want to copy that URL and post it wherever you'd like, feel free to do so. Anywhere you post this, when those potential buyers or sellers out there interact with these calculators, we're going to send you their contact information. So that's the first category, lead gen calculators. As I mentioned, we've got several of them loaded in there. Definitely going to be a great deal of help for you guys when you're trying to generate leads and get new clients, attract prospects. Now, the second category of premium content that you're getting for that subscription is the infographics section. Now, the infographics are flyers that you can dynamically customize the numbers to make them work for your buyer or your seller or your market specifically. We've got several categories in here. We're going to show you which ones are trending, which ones you've used recently. Buyer, seller, buyer meme, seller meme. Let me go ahead and click on the buyer tab just to show you guys all the content that we've loaded in here for you. For a quick estimate, we've got several report styles here. I'm going to go ahead and click on monthly affordability here, and you can see we've got other reports here, rent versus buy. There's more reports, just a ton of content and more to come that really helps you guys make the numbers relatable for those buyers and sellers out there that you work with. Now, with the functionality, let me go ahead and come up here to this first report, this buy now or wait flyer. This is a really tremendous flyer for you to use on a buyer who found a house that they're in love with, but they're not ready to pull the trigger yet. They're thinking about signing their lease for another year. The reason this is such a powerful piece of content for you guys to have for that type of situation is because we can actually show that buyer how much that house costs right now, and then based on these industry projections, what that exact same house is going to cost next year. We've got an interest rate projection on there and a home price projection, but it's a really powerful flyer to use with that buyer who's not ready to pull the trigger yet and they're thinking about waiting. And we take it a step further because we also break down what that waiting just 1 year would end up costing them monthly, annually, and over 30 years. So if they wait to buy that house just 1 year, to buy that same exact house, that decision would end up costing them $261 monthly, $3,100 annually, and over 30 years, we're talking about them making the choice to wait on that house for 1 year. It's going to end up costing them about $94,000. Now, the problem with this flyer right now is that it says $425,000. Maybe that's too high for my buyer. Maybe my buyer found that house for $270, and this flyer is just not going to work for them if that's the case. The numbers are too high. If my buyer found that house for $270, I need this flyer to say $270 for it to be relatable to that buyer specifically. Well, all of our flyers are dynamic, so you can actually go in here and press this continue button, and it's going to take you to whichever program corresponds with that flyer specifically. This one takes me into my buyer program, where now I can put in that $270 home price, hit this compute button down here at the bottom, and now the flyer works for my buyer specifically. I can send it over to my buyer and I can say, hey, Mr. Buyer, I know you're thinking about waiting, but you love this house. The wife loves the house. The kids love the house. The house is $270 right now. If you wait until next year, that same exact house is going to be $284 based on those industry projections. So really, really powerful way for you to make the numbers relatable by using these infographics. Again, you'll be able to browse all of those available infographics, and then you can go in there and tweak the numbers so they work for that buyer or that seller or that client specifically. So that's the infographics section. I'm going to go ahead and press the back button over here. And now I want to talk about the third category of premium content. It is the lenses section down here. Now the lenses, if you're familiar with the social media platforms doing those filters and frames and lenses, well, this is similar to that, except for it's real estate specific. You can take a photo of yourself or your listing or your clients using a fun frame and really add some personality to those photos that you're posting on social media. Again, we've got several categories here. Trending is going to show you which ones are popular. Recent, those are going to be the ones that you use most recently. Seasonal, we're loading in a ton of fun seasonal lenses. A lot of the holidays that come up, Cinco de Mayo, Memorial Day, Mother's Day. We've got Father's Day coming up, and Independence Day, National Donut Day. There's a ton of fun seasonal lenses that we load in here to help you guys make some seasonal posts when those holidays roll around. Right now, we've got some spring lenses loaded in here for you guys. These will be removed here shortly to make way for the summer lenses that we've created for you. But a great way for you guys to take some fun photos using these fun lenses. My clients are my best buds. Take a photo of you with your clients. So really fun way for you guys to connect using those seasonal lenses. The closing lenses, of course, you can take pictures of those houses that you're selling. You can take pictures of those buyers standing in front of their new house or another happy client. Congratulations, our new home. Great flyers for you guys to take pictures of those buyers standing in front of that house or sitting at that closing table buying their first home. Listing, I'll come back to that category. Hashtag Realtor Life is funny catchphrases that agents love to say. I'm never too busy for your referrals. Saturdays are my Mondays. All these fun different phrases can be found in that hashtag Realtor Life section. The open house section, of course, is going to be how you promote your open house. We've got a few open house lenses. I think there's several more being loaded in here in the next few days. So definitely want you guys to know that. I'm going to go ahead and click on the listing lenses because I want to show you the functionality. As you can see, these are really fun ways for you guys to promote your listings. This will go quick. Hot listing. Let me swipe over and show you more. Back on the market. Move-in ready. This one's going to go fast. Garden ready. Golf community. Backyard oasis. Investment property. Great schools nearby. A variety of different ways for you guys to promote your listings. Now, I've actually pulled up a backyard on one of my monitors, so I'm going to go ahead and choose this backyard oasis lens right here. And let's imagine that we've got this beautiful listing with this beautiful backyard. So we want to market it on social media or send this picture over to our client who's been looking for that listing that has a beautiful backyard. So I'm going to snap a picture. I shoot that picture using that fun frame on it, that fun lens, and you'll notice after you take the picture, down in the bottom right corner, a logo toggle shows up. If you've loaded your logo into your account, you can actually flip on this toggle right here, and it's going to throw your logo onto this photo. I can pinch and zoom, make it larger or smaller, drag it where I want. I'm going to throw it up there in the top left corner, and now I can post this to social media, or I can text it over to that buyer who wants that house with the beautiful backyard that they can hang out in. This is going to make it extremely easy for you guys to make relevant posts on social media and promote yourself and promote your business and your listings with a little bit of personality. And so definitely want you guys to enjoy using those lenses. That subscription offers us the opportunity to load in a ton of content for you guys. So we have more lenses coming all the time, and more infographics as well. So definitely wanted to touch on that with you guys. Now, a few last things for you guys to know about your app before I end this call. Down in the bottom right corner where it has that JK Closing Attorneys logo, that's actually where you'll be able to contact your rep. It'll have their photo down there if you're associated with the rep, and you can click on that and get your contact information for your rep. You can also run just a title scenario if you're just looking for the title fees here. That is how you'll be able to do that with the title and escrow fees button. Now let me go ahead and go back to the buyer tab and show you that we're going to save your results on the screen. We know how important they are to you, so we're not going to erase them until you erase them. You can actually press this refresh icon right here, and that will let you clear all fields and start a new estimate. Also, when we're back on an input screen, you'll notice that in the top right corner, we've got that folder icon. That's how you'll be able to load up any of those estimates that you've previously saved. In the top left corner, we've got a menu icon, and I'm going to start from the bottom here. We could share the app. You could contact our support staff. We're available from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you ever have any issues or any questions, you can contact our support staff. Clicking on that will give you the option to email or call. If you were on a phone, if I was on a phone instead of an iPad, text would also be an option there. We've got tutorial videos loaded into YouTube. This tutorials button will actually take you to those tutorial videos so you can learn how to use all the cool features that I showed you today. And then, of course, the profile button. This is where you can edit your profile information. You can upload your photo or logo, edit your personal information, that company information, add your license numbers. Earlier, I mentioned you being able to edit that disclaimer. This is where you'll be able to do that. And then also we've got a manage subscription button down here at the bottom. So if you ever need to cancel your subscription, that is how you will be able to do it from that manage subscription button. All right, so that is all I've got. Let me see. We do have some questions. It looks like they have been answered. One that I don't know if it was answered, but I answered it a few times in the call. The premium subscription is either going to cost 99 cents a month, or if you want to pay for the full year, it'll be $9.99, and that's how you'll be able to pay for that premium subscription. Also, it looks like, Tim, you're having some issues with the app on an iPhone 8 running 11.0.3. Definitely urge you to update not only your operating system. That's something that we always recommend. Upgrading your device's operating system is something that you guys are all going to want to do. But also make sure to go to your app store and update the app. Especially when we push out a large update like the one that's coming here in the next few weeks. You're going to want to make sure that you're getting the most recent version of the app. iOS devices don't auto update, and so you will need to go to your app store and update the app. So definitely want you guys to be able to do that. Let me show you really quickly. You can press on your app store. There's two options here. Updates will be down in the bottom right here. And so you can update there, but also you can search for your app. Again, it's Palm Agent. So if you go to Palm Agent and click on this first app right here, this Palm Agent One app. Right here, instead of open, if there was an available update, I could just press update right here. So that is how you'll update your app. All right. I will be providing this recording to Charles after it records and processes. And so that is how you will be able to access that recording. Great question, Sharon. All right. Well, that's all I've got. I'll leave the webinar up for a little while just so we can answer any final questions that you guys have. But you guys have a wonderful day. And again, remember to go thank Charles and the rest of the team there at JK Closing Attorneys for bringing you guys this tremendous tool. And always let them know if you have any questions. They'd be more than happy to meet with you guys and go over some of the features that I was not able to cover with you today. Awesome. Looking at the comments, I'm happy that you guys enjoyed, and y'all have a wonderful day.